This is the Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. Episode 87, recorded December 15th, 2016. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. I am your host and editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. My name is Tyson, and joining us today, as always, is our keeper of comics here at TV Enthusiast, Will.
Hello.
So today, we're going to be talking about the Golden Globe nominations. I'd like to say this is just our normal thing that we always talk about when it comes up. A lot of it just has to do with the fact that everything we watch is going on hiatus. So we had to have something to talk about, so we figured, let's face it out, let's do the Golden Globe nominations this week, and then next week we'll talk about some of the season finales for the Arrowverse stuff, and then maybe we'll take a week off or something.
Mid-season finale, you mean?
Yeah, mid-season finale. and then maybe after that we'll take like 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's, just because, you know, we're gonna have family stuff going on, and can't always do it.
To talk about anyway.
Yeah. Talk about Christmas specials like Doctor Who and so we're just gonna be going over the Golden Globe nominations. That's all we're talking about today. So let's just kick right into it. Let's start with supporting actor. The nominees are Sterling K. Brown for The People vs. O.J. Simpson, Hugh Laurie for The Night Manager, John Lithgow for The Crown, Christian Slater for Mr. Robot, and John Travolta for The People vs. O.J. Simpson.
Well, I'm biased. I'm going to say Christian Slater for Mr. Robot because that's actually the only show here I saw. I heard John Travolta was really good in People vs. O.J. Simpson. I never watched The Night Manager or The Crown. I have no clue.
I haven't yet watched The Crown. I have watched The Night Manager, and it's really good, and Hugh Laurie's really good as a villain in it. It's kind of like an espionage story, and he's like the villain.
Oh, okay.
Of it. So I just think of him as like a James Bond villain, but more like gritty and realistic in the sense that he's like a arms dealer, not like trying to destroy the world's supply of gold so his gold's worth more or something ridiculous like that. Sterling K. Brown, I haven't seen The People vs. O.J. Simpson, but Sterling K. Brown is an excellent actor. He's in This Is Us as well, which he does a really good job in. John Lithgow, of course, fantastic actor.
Oh yeah, John Lithgow.
I haven't seen The Crown. He plays Winston Churchill, though, which is interesting.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I haven't yet seen The Crown. That's one that I'm going to get around to.
That's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I want to. It's like a really high budget Netflix show. It's about Queen Elizabeth, like the current queen, but when she was younger, when she kind of first was taking the position of the queen when her father died. I'd say as well, like my pick would probably be Christian Slater for Mr. Robot. I think he won last year. I think he did a better job this year than he did last year.
Yeah.
This year, when you kind of know that he's like this kind of figment of Elliot's imagination.
Yeah, once the cat's let out of the bag, you know, Christian Slater is allowed to more fully realize the character, than in season one when, you know, when it had to be like a big secret, you know, that he wasn't actually a separate character from Elliot.
Exactly.
So now that the cat's out of the bag, I think, Christian Slater has been more free to play with that character and to fully realize Mr. Robot, and it's just a fantastic performance. Obviously, I mean, if it was a crappy performance, I mean, the show's called Mr. Robot, so it would kind of be a bummer.
Yeah, he's the titular character, so.
Yeah, amazing. And again, not take away from the accomplishments of these other actors. I simply haven't seen their shows while I have seen Mr. Robot, so.
I have heard great things about John Lithgow's performance on The Crown, though. Like, really,
John
really great
Lithgow is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I am not surprised.
Seeing him play Winston Churchill is going to be interesting.
That definitely going to be interesting.
Any snubs in the supporting actor category, do you think, that you really feel?
Jeffrey, let me see.
You're thinking of Bernard from Westworld?
Bernard from Westworld, yeah. Jeffrey Wright, is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to get his name wrong here on this podcast.
I think there's 3 really big Westworld performances that would probably fit into supporting actor. I think Anthony Hopkins' character would probably fit into supporting actor as well.
Would Anthony Hopkins be considered a supporting? That's the problem with something like Westworld. We have
it's an ensemble, yeah.
It's an ensemble. We have so many different perspectives. Who's the lead perspective? I don't think there is a lead perspective in Westworld, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I guess I would kind of make it difficult. Would Anthony Hopkins be best supporting, or would he be best main actor?
I think he would have shown up in supporting.
Yeah.
That's what I'd imagine. Based on some of the Game of Thrones nominations that have happened in years past, I think he would have probably landed in supporting. I'm not sure about the Men in Black, about Ed Harris's role as the Man in Black.
Ed Harris.
Just the other one.
I think Jeffrey Wright is definitely a supporting character in Westworld. I would say Ed Harris. Yeah, it's tough. There are a lot of characters you could definitely say support. There's a lot of people you could definitely pin as supporting cast, but then there's characters like Evan Rachel Wood, Anthony Hopkins, Thandie Newton, Ed Harris, Jimmy Simpson.
Jimmy Simpson, I think, would land an actor.
Would land an actor. These are all.
I think so.
These are.
It's hard to distinguish.
We were following the show from their perspectives, so that would definitely, in my mind, make them lead actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we said, Westworld had great performances all throughout. I think they got they got a few nominations in the actors categories, but otherwise they got.
Yeah, the actors got completely snubbed here, which I'm surprised, because the talent, I am just shocked by that, because the talent on the actor side was just as fine. I mean, it's an amazing, it's the acting in Westworld overall, the cast overall, they nailed it. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to see the snubs when you think we're going over the nominations here, and only 2 actors from Westworld got nominated out of that amazing cast, and it's kind of it feels like a big snub, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird position, but then again, when you say that, I mean, look at who was nominated. There's some heavy hitting names there. I mean, John Travolta, John Lithgow, Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah. These are fantastic actors in their own right.
Yeah, so it's all debatable. I mean, I guess maybe just make the nominations 10 pages long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I can't necessarily disagree with their choices here. I mean, I can't say Hugh Laurie, because no, he's amazing. So is John Lithgow. So is Christian Slater. I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to go, okay, it's not like they're nominating Justin Bieber.
Yeah, there's no throwaway here.
Yeah, there's no throwaway.
And Sterling K. Brown as an actor, you don't really know, but I can tell you just from his performance in This Is Us and a few other smaller things I've seen him in, he's excellent as well. So there's no throwaway here. There's no why are they here position on this category. But let's move on to supporting actress. This one's a little bit more interesting to me as far as having more of a number of roles that I found interesting. I've actually seen all of these performances too.
I gotta tell you, off the bat, I do not know who Olivia Colman is. I do not know who Chrissy Metz is. I did not watch Night Manager or This Is Us. I only know Mandy Moore as a pop star from the 2000s.
Yeah.
I don't really know much of her acting work. I think she's been in some teen movies I never bothered to watch.
She does a surprisingly good job in this.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that story is she plays herself in both a young version and an older version.
Oh, interesting.
And I didn't even know it was actually her in prosthetic makeup at first. I just thought it was an older actress. So she just really does it well.
Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting, actually.
Chrissy Metz plays her daughter in This Is Us, who you see in 2 different time periods as well. Not playing the younger self, because that would just be weird if you had a 30-year-old woman playing a 10-year-old,
Hello, fellow children.
Exactly. Then we go to the kind of the roles that we are more familiar with here, which is Thandie Newton in Westworld, played Maeve, the
Headey.
robot coming to consciousness, and Lena Headey, of course, Game of Thrones, Cersei Lannister.
And that's actually such a difficult choice because I felt Lena Headey was at the top of her game in this past season of Game of Thrones. Of course,
she'd be my pick of this category.
She had that wonderful scene where she finally got one over on her enemies in probably the most spectacular way that you've seen, like the most over the top Game of Thrones way you can imagine. And it was such a satisfying scene. You know, she did great. At the same token, Thandie Newton did a pretty damn good performance on Westworld. Although her character arc, her story arc, was a bit weak. It was probably one of the weakest parts of Westworld this season.
That's arguable, but even in that case, says nothing about her and her performance.
No, it says nothing about her and her performance. She did a fantastic job. So it's difficult. It is difficult.
I'd probably give it to Lena Headey.
I'd probably give it to Lena Headey too.
I think she did the remarkable of making a character that you hate so much, but at the same time, you find yourself occasionally rooting for.
Yeah.
That is absurdly difficult, you know?
Yeah, that's absurdly difficult. I felt in this season of Game of Thrones, I rooted for her, and then
had a crisis of conscience.
I rooted for her, and then when they made it realize, you know, that she took the crown, you realize a monster has taken control. All of a sudden, you're like, no, she's bad. She's bad.
The thing is, because you know she's bad before that, and she somehow kind of makes you forget that without ever not being bad. Like she didn't stop being bad. She didn't stop being bad. She just showed a little three-dimensionality that made you like her position a little bit, you know?
Right.
And then you get a little caught up in that, and then you start to remember, oh yeah, she's horrible, and then you go into an existential crisis. She'd be my pick for this category.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Sorry, Thandie Newton. Best.
You did great. Let's see. Any snubs in this category that you can think of offhand?
Offhand, not really.
It's weird that, you know, they only have a supporting category. Like they have the actor category separated by
Emily Bett Rickards as Felicity.
They have the category separated for like drama and comedy, but for supporting, it's only the one category.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that certain people are not going to get a good position because of that. I mean, there's a few roles in comedy that I could think of that are pretty good. The girl who plays Rachel's neighbor on
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, exactly. Really good if there was like a supporting comedy actress.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah.
There's a few roles in Brooklyn Nine-Nine I could see going in that direction as well. It's a little limited there because it's all going to end up being the drama.
Speaking of, let's move on to that actor musical comedy.
Okay, so this is for best actor in a musical or comedy.
I don't know. I didn't watch any of this.
This is a weird ass category.
Donald Glover, I guess, because Community.
Donald Glover is excellent.
I'm nominating him for Community. I've never seen Atlanta.
Jeffrey Tambor is excellent. I still don't understand how Transparent is a comedy.
I thought that was a drama. I've never watched it, but I thought that was a drama.
I think because it's a half hour long, they just decided it's a comedy. That show is rarely funny. It is occasionally, but rarely. I'd say less so than Game of Thrones is funny.
What the hell is even Graves? I mean, is Transparent a musical? I didn't know that was a musical.
It's not a musical. It's comedy or musical. So.
Oh, I see. You have it you have it musical of comedy.
No, that's my mistake. That's a typo.
Oh, it's supposed to be or. Okay. I thought musical of comedy was like a weird title for like a award, but
it's a weird one. So none of these are musical. So Anthony Anderson and Blackish, that's like a a sitcom about a black family.
in the Jungle is a comedy.
I was surprised by that too. I thought it was going to be this really dark show, and then my sister watched it and she said like, "Oh no, it's a comedy. It's really funny."
You wrote it Mozart in the Jingle.
Oh. Oh man, my typos.
Yeah.
I also wrote Donald Glover instead of Donald.
Oh yeah, Donald Glover. Nice. But I mean, yeah, you forgot D, but Mozart in the Jingle. I'm not going to forget that. That's such a great typo.
It's a mashup of Mozart in the Jungle and Jingle All the Way.
Hell, I'd watch that. Put the violin down.
So of these, I actively watched Blackish and Transparent. I watched about, I'd say a third of Atlanta before I just had to cut it.
I haven't.
Not because it's not good, but just because I just didn't have time.
I thought you were going to say because it's garbage. Wow.
Oh no, it's good. It's a really good show. It's just, I just didn't have time. I had to make some hard choices.
So I haven't seen any of these. I'm not going to make a decision on this, but what would you say?
From what I've seen, I don't know. I mean, of all of these, the best performance probably comes from Jeffrey Tambor from what I've seen, but it's not comedy. You know, that's like the thing. It's like, it's weird, a weird fit in there. I hear Gael Garcia Bernal is amazing in Mozart in the Jungle, but I haven't seen it yet. So it's like, can't say. Graves is a new series on Epix, I believe, which is kind of a weird channel for a new show to come from. And Nick Nolte is a fantastic actor, so I'm sure he's great.
Right.
I haven't seen it. So this is a hard one for me. I'd say if this was just actor and these were the nominees, I'd say Jeffrey Tambor.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Let's run with that.
Anything missing? So actors from a comedy. How about, this would be more for supporting actor in a comedy, would be that, the best friend on, what's it called? Man versus, Man Seeking Woman.
Man Seeking Woman, yes, yeah.
Eric Andres for
Man Seeking, he should be on here.
For supporting, that would be good. But again, they only have a regular supporting, not for...
They only have a regular supporting. So let's say the lead for Man Seeking Woman, because that's the best comedy on TV right now.
That would be a good one. I think, there's several roles on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Terry Crews on Brooklyn Nine-Nine is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be really good in that position.
Terry Crews is great. I mean, I've never seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but that guy is awesome.
You'd like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's really good. And there's some other performances from just that show that I could put in there. I don't know. I don't necessarily see any throwaways, but this is a category where I haven't watched a lot of it. I'd say if any of them are a throwaway, it's Anthony Anderson, and he's still excellent. So it's not that he's bad. It's just that I think he's a little outweighed in this category.
Right. Right. Wow. Bad pun.
But yeah, they're all excellent. Yeah. Do you have any other snubs to bring up or for that category?
No, I don't watch a lot of comedy, actually. It's weird because I love comedy. Oh, wait, what about Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt? Nobody was.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Nominated. Come on, man. What? Oh.
That's mostly female roles, though.
But that's mostly female. You have Titus Androgenes. He should be on this list. Actually, yeah. He's amazing. What the hell?
Yeah,
okay.
He's good.
Yeah, you're right. That is definitely a snub.
That's a good one. That's a good pick. I think of anything else in the comedy realm. We have kind of untraditional comedies like Scream Queens and Ash vs. Evil Dead and
I'm gonna say I'm not surprised Scream Queens got snubbed. I don't think it's awards worthy. It's just like this. it's way too trashy. It's way too trashy of a show to be like.
What about Brain Dead?
Awards. Brain Dead, that was good. I don't know if I would definitely probably put Mary Elizabeth Winstead as under the actress category, for sure.
So let's move on from this category then. Now we're going to actress in a musical or comedy. So right off the bat, here's one we know: Rachel Bloom, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Most people know her from Seinfeld for her role in Veep.
I love her. I tried watching a couple episodes of Veep. I honestly couldn't get into it.
People love Veep. I couldn't get into it either.
Okay, yes.
So it's not like it.
It just didn't hit the right chords of funny for me. It just was not funny enough. And I like Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I thought and it's not even like I disliked her performance in Veep. I liked her character. It just, the show itself did nothing for me to keep me watching.
Yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker for Divorce. Didn't watch the show. Issa Rae for Insecure.
Isn't that fairly new?
Yeah.
That just came out. That's kind of weird. I don't know.
It's no newer. It came out around the same time as Westworld, I think.
Okay. I didn't watch Divorce.
Issa Rae for Insecure. I did watch some of Insecure. Don't necessarily see that she's was a real strong contender.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Gina Rodriguez for it's Jane the Virgin. I wrote Jan.
Sure, Jan.
Jan the Virgin. Nobody cares about Jan the Virgin. They don't care about Jane. Again, like, it's a popular show. I've seen some of it. I don't really necessarily see her as
the critics went crazy about it. First 10 out of 10 show on like Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Tracy Ellis Ross for Blackish. She's good. I'd put her over Anthony Anderson.
Oh, really?
For Blackish. She's
you would
really
say
good.
like Gina. I know, like, I never watched Jane the Virgin, but a lot of people swear up and down Gina Rodriguez is a fantastic actress. She's
I
great
just think
in
her
it.
role's so pedestrian. It's so I don't know, bland. It's so just like the optimistic like girl who grew up watching Disney all the time, and there's like no real depth to her character. I feel it's just, I don't know if you should put that on the actress or on the writing, or I don't really get anything from her performance. You know, like, I get people like the show and stuff, but her performance in particular, I don't necessarily see as something really strong. But, you know, I haven't watched it in a while, so I haven't watched this season. Maybe she had some amazing turn. I have no idea.
Right.
But right now, for me, I'd say her and Issa Rae are like the weak links from what I've seen here. Rachel Bloom takes it for me.
Rachel Bloom takes
of all those shows, it's the only one I really care about.
Yeah, true. Same here. It's the only one I really care about. Rachel Bloom is amazing. She always knocks, like, her character, she plays this insanely zany character, and she always puts like 100% into it. And also the musical numbers, like, this is a musical and a comedy. So this is probably the only thing on here that is actually a musical, actually. So as being the only musical, I don't know, maybe Mozart in the Jungle is a musical too.
No, it's about music, but it's not a musical.
Okay, so as the only actual musical, it makes sense. I think Rachel Bloom should win because she also nails the musical aspect too.
She's definitely a really strong performer, and she has a pretty big range on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I mean, it never gets too dark, but she does get to do a good job playing out depression, anxieties, mania, just like the idea of, you know, when someone just is so just crazy, with excitement and stuff, and the kind of crash that comes after that. All that stuff she does an excellent job in. And she's challenging, you know, like gender perceptions and stuff on the show. She's tackling issues like mental health, and all of that is played through her character, and she does a great job. So I'd say she's my favorite for that category.
That category too.
As for overlooked people, there's a ton.
There's a ton of overlooked people.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt,
Kimmy Schmidt, yeah. Ellie Kemper.
Kemper for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. That's a huge miss. There's an actress, can't remember her name right now, in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that's like the lead actress on the show. Amazing performance. She's really good. She plays like this way too uptight woman. It's great. Man, there's a lot of great female comedy roles right now.
Yeah.
And you said, you gave as an example saying that, you wouldn't necessarily put, Scream Queens on this, but what about Jamie Lee Curtis in Scream Queens?
Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job. I would agree Jamie Lee Curtis is fantastic.
Or also, what's Roberts? Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts, yeah. Emma Roberts is fantastic with her. Of course, her character is, you know, if you watch Scream Queens, one of the most memorable things about the show is going to be Emma Roberts and her character.
Yeah.
I don't think you're not going to walk away from that performance without some sort of impression. You know, you're definitely not going to think it's bland. So you could consider those snubs too. It's just crazy.
Any other big ones you can think of off the top of your head?
No.
Okay, so on to actor in a miniseries or TV film. This one has a few that I haven't seen and a few that I have and have a lot of thoughts on. So Riz Ahmed, he played the lead in The Night Of.
He was pretty good. He was good.
He's good, but there's somebody else in that series that kind of overshadows him.
That's John Turturro,
who's also nominated.
Who's also nominated, which is interesting. This is I think we have two actors from the same show going head to head.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston for All the Way. Of course, Bryan Cranston is a fantastic actor.
Some of these feel like
a lot of attention.
Some of these feel like nominations because these people are established. Bryan Cranston it feels like
he showed up. Give him an award.
He showed up exactly. He's still coasting from Breaking Bad. You know, it's like they probably didn't even watch All the Way. They probably said, "Oh shit, Heisenberg. Yeah, Breaking Bad was so good. Let's nominate him."
You got Tom Hiddleston for The Night Manager. He's of course you know him more as like Loki in the Thor movies. And
I know him as Hank Williams. I don't know what these Avengers movies are about. I have no clue.
Tom Hiddleston is really good in The Night Manager, though. Again, I don't necessarily. This is like where
those rumors that he was up for James Bond came from. Actually,
yeah.
He's
good at that kind of role. I mean, if you see him in the role of Loki, you could see him doing that too. You could see him being in espionage. You know, Courtney B. Vance for The People versus O.J. Simpson. He played Johnny Cochran. Of course, Johnny Cochran's going to be a huge, larger-than-life role based on a real-life person, you know? I've heard nothing but good things. Still haven't watched it.
Johnny Cochran was so larger. Like, Seinfeld created a character that was basically just like a mockery of like Johnny Cochran, you know, like a parody of Johnny Cochran. That's how
close to the skin, like a glove.
Yeah, that's how larger than life this character was. And I haven't seen the show, so I don't know if Courtney B. Vance's performance, you know, leans more towards Seinfeld's Johnny Cochran or the actual Johnny Cochran. It seems like it'd be way too easy to veer into parody territory with that guy.
I've heard great things about his performance.
Yeah.
He seems to be the one winning in all of the awards that have already come. So if you look at like I believe they had the Independent awards, or no, it's the Critics Awards recently, and he won in that, for example.
Oh, nice.
He seems to be the front runner by a big mile. My pick, John Turturro for The Night Of.
Yep, that'd be my pick too.
John Turturro is fantastic. I love him in pretty much everything he does. He's kind of an actor he's almost like reclusive. Like you just don't see him that much.
You don't.
And when he does show up, he's just stunning.
Yeah.
In this, probably more than I've ever seen him in his career.
He was amazing in Transformers.
No, he's always really good.
He's always really good.
Know?
Yeah.
He's done a lot with like the Coen Brothers, where he's been like amazing. And
but
The Night Of might be in his maybe top 5 performances. Period. I mean, that's great role. He's kind of like, it's interesting because he's almost like a Saul Goodman in the sense that he's like this like parody-esque lawyer, this ridiculous lawyer that everybody kind of like laughs at and stuff. But that's part of the drama of his character, is that he's perceived like that, you know? Right. And he's just doing the right thing, you know? He's doing what he has to do to get by. And sometimes he seems a little bit ambulance chasey, or like he's, you know, just trying to take advantage of something. But he's not asking a lot. He's just trying to get by. He doesn't have that much. And he works hard, and you really feel for him. And he's going through this issue with his feet, with this fungus. It's just kind of funny and gruesome and sad all at the same time. Great performance. I'd say easily for me, that's my top pick. Of course, I haven't seen 2 of the shows that were nominated here.
Okay, so next category:
actress, miniseries, or TV film.
And this is another category where I absolutely haven't seen anything on it.
I'll just say the nominees, because actually this is one where I also haven't seen anything on this. Okay. So I've seen American Crime, but only the first season, and she plays a completely different character in the second season. So I can't comment on it. But Felicity Huffman for American Crime, Riley Keough for The Girlfriend Experience, Sarah Paulson for The People vs. O.J. Simpson, Charlotte Rampling for London evidenced by in Kerry Washington for confirmation.
And I just
Heard
hear
great
Riley
things about
Keough,
Kerry
and
Washington, Sarah
my
Paulson.
first word is like, who? So it's like, yeah.
Kerry Washington, Sarah Paulson, those seem to be like the front runners. Felicity Huffman, of course, is an excellent actress. I can't comment on anything from there. And I don't really watch a lot of miniseries or TV films, so.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest.
So there isn't much I can look at that's snubbed there either. So we're just going to kind of quickly move on to actor in a drama. This one I've seen most of the shows or most of these performances. Rami Malek for Mr. Robot, excellent.
Yeah, Bob Odenkirk.
Again, like we said with Christian Slater with season 2, better in this season when he's just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And he gets to really play that. Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, stunning, really good, really elevated the series this season with him and his conflict between him and his brother. That's like this huge point of drama in the series. Really good. Adds so much more depth to his character that was already a great character in Breaking Bad. Matthew Rhys for The Americans, excellent. Liv Schreiber for Ray Donovan. You might know him. He was in the really bad Wolverine movie. He played Sabretooth.
Yeah, I know who Liv Schreiber is. I know I've seen the man in like a bunch of things. I just never watched Ray Donovan because I don't have Showtime.
People love Ray Donovan. I never found a taste.
Unless somebody like comes on and says it's amazing, I'm not going to go and get like some channel I'm not subscribing to just to watch. A
lot of people say it's amazing. People go on and on about that show. I did not like it.
Really, yeah, I haven't actually heard anything about that show from like, so I know nothing about Ray Donovan. Like, if people love it, that's great. Again, I don't subscribe to Showtime. Showtime has given me little incentive to subscribe to their network compared to like HBO or like even
Showtime's been kind of dwindling. I feel like they were like relying too heavily on Dexter. And then they kind of just ruined Dexter.
They were, and Dexter was good for like about 4 seasons, and then they kind of like really made it stupid.
And they haven't really done anything that really stands out since. So last on the list is Billy Bob Thornton for Goliath. I have not seen this. I'm sure he's excellent because Billy Bob Thornton's amazing.
It's the same thing with Liv Schreiber. I haven't watched the show, but I know the actor. I know how amazing. Billy Bob Thornton in Fargo season 1. Amazing performance. He killed it. If he was nominated for Fargo, if this was Fargo season 1, and being nominated here, I would definitely be all in for Billy Bob Thornton. Because it was that good. I don't know about Goliath though. I don't know what his performance is like in the show. I've never seen that.
So I'd say for actors in a drama, my pick would probably be Rami Malek for Mr. Robot.
What a twist! No,
Bob Odenkirk's pretty close on
Bob Odenkirk's pretty close. I love Bob Odenkirk. I love the character of Saul Goodman. Such a great character, great actor. But yeah, I agree. I give it to Rami Malek because
he just dwindled this season. His whole life came apart. The character, and watching that played out by an actor was fantastic.
Again, Rami Malek's character in Mr. Robot is one of the most refreshing, unique characters on television. There's like really like nobody on TV like Elliot at all because why I love it. He's socially awkward, introverted, withdrawn, but not in like this gross cartoon, like this gross cartoony mocking way, that you see like a ton of other TV programs where, he's just the nerdy guy, and it just seems like mocking people of that disposition. Like every single crime drama I ever see has this nerdy guy, and it's always like a mocking portrayal, It's not that at all. It's like he is so nuanced, he is so complicated, and then he turns out he's crazy, and
in this season particularly,
he's just nuts. And the way Rami Malek navigates that portrayal and delivers it's just because he's a highly complicated character. This is a highly complicated performance, So I have to imagine it takes a lot of skill to pull that off. And so that's the reason I think Rami Malek should get it.
In particular, I gotta give it up for the flashback scene that was last like the first half of an episode. That whole thing was so ridiculous and over the top and funny, and yet his presence in that scene made it like disturbing and uncomfortable. Because that's what it's supposed to be. Like, it's not that he ruined the scene, it's quite the opposite. It's like the scene could have just been pure parody and been ridiculous and written off, but instead you have this scene that's like kind of haunting because it's like all this ridiculous around him and he's aware this isn't real and it's fucking with him, and that's an amazing role that he did.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
Any snubs in actor category? Hodor, Game of Thrones.
Hodor, Game of Thrones. Yeah. I don't know. Not really. Not to my knowledge. Because I would have said Rami Malek if he was on this list, but he is on this list, so all is
maybe,
good.
No, there is from the Expanse.
There's definitely a snub. There's definitely a snub. I mean, Anthony Hopkins from Westworld.
Yeah, there you go. If you count him as an actor instead of supporting, we had that whole discussion there. If he does fall into the actor category, that is a big snub.
That is a big snub. Even okay, so say Anthony Hopkins doesn't count as a main actor in Westworld. What about Ed Harris
or Jimmy Simpson?
All of them.
Right.
I don't know. I wasn't like in love with Jimmy Simpson's performance. I probably wouldn't have nominated him.
They're all great though, but
they're all great.
Ed Harris definitely. Yeah, he was amazing.
Ed Harris was definitely amazing.
What about The Expanse? I can't think of the actor's name. He's the most well-known actor in it. I can't think of his name though right now for some reason. He played the PI.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know if I'd nominate him, to be honest. I thought he was excellent. I liked The Expanse. I thought he was good. I don't know if it was awards good.
I thought he in particular was good though.
Yeah.
Of the roles in that. I'm trying to think of anything else that really kind of blew my mind in that category, but I'm not really coming to anything that's going to top like Rami Malek and Bob Odenkirk. I mean, I love Game of Thrones, but I'm not going to say that Jon Snow was more interesting than Elliot.
No, God, no. Jon Snow. I as good as Game of Thrones was this season, I feel like Jon Snow, his performance is fairly consistent. It wasn't like much of a different performance than what he did last season.
Yeah, and we didn't really see a big step up for can't think of his name now. I'm just blanking on names left and right. On Tyrion Lannister's role.
Tyrion Lannister didn't have much to do this season.
Yeah, he didn't really branch out or do anything spectacular.
He talked to dragons and then got scared of them. It's like literally the only thing they had him do. It was so disappointing.
Yeah, it was mostly actresses, I think, in drama that really worked for Game of Thrones, which brings us to actresses in drama. First up, we have Katrina Balfe for Outlander. I don't know exactly who that is. I'm guessing it's the lead actress on the show because she's for actress on the drama. I watched about the first half of the first season. Can't say anything about season 2, which is what this is for. Claire Foy for The Crown. Like I said, haven't seen The Crown yet. Here she's excellent. Kerry Russell in The Americans. Very good performance. As was Matthew Rhys for The Americans, who was up for the actor. Winona Ryder for Stranger Things.
That's a surprising nomination, actually.
I like that Stranger Things got a nomination.
I like that Stranger Things on here. I like Winona Ryder. I like the character. I like the performance.
It's pretty
but yeah, it's pretty. She's frantic.
There's nothing wrong with what she did. That's what the character was.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know if it would stand out for an award.
I don't know if this is there just because Stranger Things is like one of the most talked about shows, and
for Stranger Things, I think I would have preferred if they had done Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, I agree. They really should have. I mean, I don't know why she's snubbed. Is that because because she's a child actor. I know none of the child actors from Stranger.
She was nominated for the SAG Award for
I noticed
actress.
that none of the child actors were nominated for Stranger Things here. And is that just like, what are you supposed to infer from? Is that like just because like they're children, they're not considered, as worthy as their adult counterparts?
I think it's just because there's so many big names, you know,
that
they don't want to snub some like actor that's been in the business for 30 years. And
that's
like,
true. Yeah, like Winona Ryder probably has a little more pull than that girl. However old that girl is, like
she's like 10 or 11 or something.
Or 11.
11. Because that's her name.
Because that's her name. So that's
lastly, we have Evan Rachel Wood from Westworld.
This is who I would pick. Evan Rachel Wood killed it in Westworld. She had probably one of the most complicated performances in that entire show, because she had to play a robot that was slowly becoming aware, slowly becoming more human, but also like her arc involved like her perceiving different timelines.
So like Elliot, she was like an unreliable.
So like Elliot, she was an unreliable narrator, and it's really difficult. It's difficult to explain. It was actually kind of difficult to even like follow watching it, but to be like the actress having to pull this off, that just sounds like an incredible burden, and she did it with aplomb. She made the character of Dolores work.
I'd say my vote splits between Kerry Russell and Evan Rachel Wood.
I haven't watched The Americans. I'm sure Kerry Russell is fantastic, but I have to give it to Evan Rachel Wood for Westworld. I have to. That was a fantastic performance from episode 1. That was a fantastic performance.
Any big snubs here?
Well,
it's hard because my go-to is I think like Game of Thrones or something, but then Lena Headey was for supporting because it's an ensemble.
There's not really many strong actresses.
I love Maisie Williams, but she didn't necessarily pull off an amazing performance.
There aren't any like really strong actresses in Game of Thrones, to be honest.
Not in the lead role.
Not in the lead role.
I mean, Lena Headey's probably the best of them.
Yeah, exactly. Daenerys. I don't think.
Have Elliot's sister on Mr. Robot.
Elliot's sister on Mr. Robot. Yeah, she's good.
I think of any other.
I don't think there's like any really major snubs from what I've seen.
The one lawyer girl on The Night Of, she was really interesting too.
Oh yeah.
She was really complex with her being like new and kind of having to navigate that. It was an interesting role, and she did a really good job. She just with the right amount of like naivete to like screw up and get her like ruin her own life, you know?
So now's the big one where we're judging shows.
Okay, so first up, series, musical or comedy. We have Atlanta, Blackish, Mozart in the Jungle, Transparent, and Veep. All shows you haven't watched.
All shows I haven't watched or care about, so none of them. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah,
actually, Crazy Ex. Why not Crazy Ex-Girlfriend? That's so weird. Rachel Bloom.
Or Man-Seeking Woman.
Yeah, or Man-Seeking Woman. That's so weird, but like Rachel Bloom was nominated for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy for Crazy Ex-Girl, and her show isn't nominated. I don't understand, because I think I think
too many shows, man.
I think Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is just a stronger show than probably, I will say at least Blackish. Come on. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is a stronger show than Blackish.
I'd say it's a stronger show than Blackish.
So that's a huge snub right off the bat.
Silicon Valley, for me, that would be my pick. Wasn't nominated, was amazing, especially this season, was so good. There's a lot of good ones. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I mentioned a few times.
Yeah.
They don't have like an animated category, but if they did, South Park, continued to be impressive and did some interesting
Would you say you nominate South Park like every year?
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know, maybe not last year. This year they were doing some pretty interesting things. So they kind of like the last couple of years they've been adjusting their format, and they actually kind of made it serialized, which is really interesting.
So my answer is nothing, because the shows I would actually pick for an award are on here. So
none of these particularly gel with me in a way that if I had had to pick from these, I'd probably say
it's
Atlanta, and that's saying that after I dropped watching it.
It's best comedy, and none of these I care for as comedies. Like Transparent, like you said, isn't really comedy to begin with.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah. Let's go to miniseries or TV movie. We have American Crime, The Dresser. I have no idea what that is. The Night Manager.
Sounds boring, is what it is.
The Night of, and The People versus O.J. Simpson. Of these, the only ones I've seen, at least for this season, are The Night Manager and The Night of.
I've only watched The Night of.
And The Night of is my pick.
Yeah, that's my pick too. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't have a snub because I don't watch many miniseries or TV
Same
movies.
Here.
Yep, so I don't know. If something came out and you think it should have been, you can comment on that, but it's kind of out of my field of reference, so I can't say what has been snubbed and what hasn't.
Brain Dead was canceled after season 1, so we could say that was a miniseries. That brings us to the big boy of the award show, series drama.
And this is where it gets difficult. This is, come on, Pete. Oh, I can't.
Only one of these I haven't seen.
Well, I do
plan on watching that one, which is The Crown.
I haven't seen The Crown. I haven't watched This Is Us. This Is Us looked boring from the preview.
It's actually really good. Yeah.
Let's strike those two. And now it's like a three-way matchup between Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, and Westworld. You know, just the shows that have been kind of dominating the discussion on this website for like the past year.
So it's like Westworld started really strong and then had a couple problems and did okay at the end.
I think Game of Thrones had one of its strongest seasons.
Game of Thrones is like the opposite of Westworld, that it started a little weak and then it got really good at the end.
It got really good at, it just, it's the opposite of Westworld. Westworld started really good. Westworld was on track to be like my favorite thing, and then it just didn't nail that landing.
And it didn't flop either.
It didn't flop either. It just didn't nail it. It was kind of disappointing in a way, but it's not so disappointing where I'm like, I ended up hating it. I just didn't end up liking it as much as I thought I was going to like it.
And then you have Stranger Things.
Which was wonderful. It was just this wonderful thing Netflix bestowed upon us, and it was unexpected. I knew you were hyped from watching the trailers, and it was hard not to get hyped. But it was also easy to see how it could have been corny. It could have relied way too heavily on 80s nostalgia.
And it gets criticized for that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is like, I honestly think that it doesn't rely too heavily on 80s nostalgia.
I don't think
because I've seen other things that have relied too heavily on 80s nostalgia without the substance to back it up, and this is not the case.
Here's the thing, this feels authentic.
Yeah.
It's weird because I know when stuff is like pandering to nostalgia.
The thing is, like, Stranger Things, when I look back on it, when I think back on it, I think back on Stranger Things in the same way I think back on like the Goonies and Monster Squad and stuff like that.
Right.
Whereas
it feels like that
the 80s, I think, is just like a representation.
I said this when Stranger Things first came on. When I first watched the first episode, I said, this genuinely feels like something I watched when I was a kid. Like
a great thing, not just capturing that feeling, but actually like being a great version.
Being a great version of that type thing. Yeah, like a great thing. Like if this aired when I was a kid, actually aired when I was a kid, it would not have been out of place at all. And not only that, but it would be something we'd be talking about to this day as one of the best things to come out of the 80s. I think
that's exactly it. That's exactly the point, is that a lot of the kind of stuff that plays too heavily on nostalgia, it doesn't have enough to hold up on its own. So it's like, it's a wonderful ride through your nostalgia, but it itself doesn't really hold anything. So you're like, okay, well, now that's over. I'm done with that. On the other hand, you have, with Stranger Things, it does hold up on its own as its own thing. And it stands up just as strongly as all of those things it's based on. And it's right shoulder to shoulder with them. It's like a series out of time. time, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's great. It's like, well, it's got its own storyline. You know, the storyline isn't about, first of all, the storyline isn't about the 80s. It's not about being the 80s and, hey guys, remember Alf? You know,
Yeah.
it's just the story takes place in the 80s.
And it's inspired by some 80s.
It's inspired by some 80s things, but it really uses that backdrop as like the window dressing to tell the story in the way they did. It's so amazing.
It's got all its own iconography. That's the thing. It's like, you can look at, you know, what it copied of the iconography. That's this famous shot of the bike that it's very similar to like a scene in E.T. and those kind of things like,
well, I mean,
it's like, okay, they took
like,
some of that
if they did something like so obviously pandering as like the bike in the middle of the moon from E.T., then you can criticize it and be like, yeah, this is pretty lame, guys.
But that's the thing, is Stranger Things has its own iconography.
Right, exactly.
The image of Eleven in this dress with like her bald head, bleeding nose, that's iconic, you know? The image of this guy from this evil organization with the weird hair, that's iconic. The Christmas lights with the letters on the wall, that's iconic. Like, it has all of its own iconography. So it doesn't just rely on the iconography that came before it. It creates its own.
Yeah, it's funny. I was on the gaming forums, and the Overwatch got its new Christmas update. And I don't know if you play Overwatch or know the characters.
No, I don't.
Well, but the one character, Diva, she has like a mech, and for her Christmas I guess pose or something is like her mech is covered in Christmas lights, and somebody remarked, you know, oh, that's why'd they give her a Stranger Things skin?
That's exactly it. Is that it created its own iconography?
Yeah, exactly.
So you have these things that stand out for it. You know, these parts about it that are, you know, just really cool. I mean, just even like the phrasing, using, you know, the upside down. Like if I used to say, what's the upside down to like 20 random people on the street, almost everybody would probably say, oh, that's from Stranger Things, you know? Like, that says it right there, that it's iconic in its own part. Whereas, like, I really liked Super 8, which was J.J. Abrams' like 80s nostalgia movie, which is, you know, trying to do something very similar to Stranger Things, in that it's supposed to feel like the kind of thing you would like E.T. or things like that you would love in the 80s, but it's mostly an empty nostalgia play. It's
right.
Not that it's bad, but I mean, it's like, I'm not going to look back in 10 years and go like, man, that was a great movie, you know? Like, I'm going to look back and say, man, Goonies was great, and sure, Back to the Future was great, and you know, I'm going to look back at those as great, but I'm not going to look back at Super 8 as being great. I will look back on Stranger Things as being great.
Right, definitely.
So any snubs here? There's so many good shows that came out this year that there's inevitable snubs. The Expanse, the Magicians.
The Magicians. Yeah, there's so many good shows. I don't know, so I guess are you saying Stranger Things is your pick for
Stranger
drama?
Things is my pick, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Stranger Things is my pick. It was really hard. You know, the temptation to say Game of Thrones, especially since this season of Game of Thrones is so amazing. Like, yeah, like, it has to be Stranger Things. That was like the biggest surprise of the year for me, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. It was stunning. You know, there's some other ones too. Preacher was amazing.
Preacher was good. I only watched like the first episode of that, so I did enjoy it. I do mean to go back and watch more of that show. I just haven't got the chance to.
I mean, there are quite a few really good ones. Tons, but the winner is right there, which is Stranger Things. That's the one that I want to take it. I think Game of Thrones is probably going to take it.
I think Game of Thrones will take it. I would be surprised and delighted if Stranger Things did get it, but it's not something I'm expecting.
Yeah, same here. That's it. That brings us to an end of our Golden Globe nominees. We didn't cover film ones because this is TV Enthusiast. So obviously we're going to cover the TV categories. They also didn't have any listings for the more, the lesser known categories, which we would have covered some of, like, you know, directing, writing, stuff like that. We would have, you know, the music, you know, stuff like that we would have probably covered a little bit. But, they didn't have that available for us to go into, so we didn't. But thank you everybody for listening. You can check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, as well as our site, TVEnthusiast.com. You can subscribe to the podcast through any major podcast client like iTunes or Pocket Cast. And the entire backlog of our podcast is available on our YouTube channel. Just check everything out by going to TVEnthusiast.com. All the links are there. You can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can reach Will on Twitter. He is at Voxel Hero. Thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
If you would like to voice your opinion, send an email to theweeklyset@TVEnthusiast.com. TV Enthusiast is a part of the Enthusiast Media Network. Stay tuned to TV Enthusiast and the Weekly Set podcast for more coverage